In section 9-3, we are going to talk about angles. We're going to have a lot of vocabulary, as you can see by the right-hand side of this page, but not to freak out. It won't be too overwhelming. Most of these words you already know. Okay, for instance, a point. A point's a location in space. And it is usually represented, and actually it is always represented by the letter A. So here's a point, or B. It's always a capital letter, all right? Q. Okay, no problem there. Array is an endpoint on one side of the line and on to infinity on the other side. Looks something like this, like the side of an angle. It has an endpoint, we'll call that T, and it goes on to infinity in another on the other end. That's a ray. A line, you know, goes to infinity on both ends, like this, okay? And it might be labeled line, say if it had 2 points on it, we would call this line Q, sorry, and line R. A ray, if this had 2 points on it, T and S, would be labeled ray T S with a line over the top and an arrow. QR as a line would have an arrow at both ends and be labeled QR. Okay, we'll get the rest of these words in the next pages. Let's take a minute though and look at this circle. You can see a ray is named by using the endpoint first, we talked about that, and then another point on the ray. So here we have ray AP headed out in that direction. Or here we have ray AM. Again, here they're repeating what I just said. So the symbol for ray AM is AM with a line over the top and an arrow heading in one direction. And the symbol for line NP has arrows going in both directions. And you can see this is line NP. It goes all the way across. And letter A is the point in the center of the circle. Two rays that at the same endpoint form an angle. So here's your next definition. An angle is two rays, oops, sorry, come back. Two rays that form have the same endpoint. So here we have the same endpoint. Here's a ray and here's another ray, right? And they have the same endpoint, and that endpoint is called the vertex. So a vertex, here's your second definition, is two rays that make up an angle are called, so the common endpoint is called the vertex. And the two rays that make up the angle are called the sides. So we have a vertex, we have two sides, okay? And this can be called the measure of angle 1. Excuse me, not measure. Let me just say that this could be known as angle 1. It could also be known as angle A, B, C, with B, the middle letter being the vertex. Must be the vertex. Or it could also be called angle C, B, A. As you see, the vertex is still in the middle. If there were no other angles around, you could also call it angle B, but that's not very common that we do that. Okay, and this just sort of repeats what I just said. There's several ways to name an angle. You can use the vertex, right? You have angle ABC or angle CBA. You can use the vertex only, doesn't happen very often, or you can use the number. The most common unit of measurement for angles is a degree. So the unit of measurement for angles is degree. So there's your next definition. a circle can be separated into 360 arcs or 360 degrees. And the tool we use to measure angles is called a protractor. So there's your next definition. You'll remember we measure angles using a protractor, right? And here we have angle CDE, right? Angle CDE. D is the vertex. To measure using a protractor, the first thing you're going to do is line up the vertex with the circle or the crosshairs in your protractor. So line up with the center point and the vertex, okay? Then you align the one of the rays, either ray, it does not matter which, with the bottom line on your protractor. Once you've done that, you look and see where 0 is. So if you're on this side, 0's over here and right here, and you're going to count up and 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. This angle measures 120 degrees. All right? If I were measuring this side, this angle, right? 0 would start out here and it'd be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Oop, it must be 60. It is 60 degrees. And of course, the two of them added together equal 180 degrees. This is all review for you guys, so I'm going through this fairly quickly. I'm not even going to, so you have to line it up with the vertex, then you have to line the line with the line, and then you start counting from 0 over to see how many degrees it is. So let's find the measures of KXN. Where is K? Here is K. Oh, let me get my highlighter going. Sorry, guys. KXN. So this is the angle that we're looking at. So we have our vertex lined up. We start at 0 and we start counting 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140 degrees. So the measure of angle KXN equals 140 degrees. What if we looked at, I'm going to erase this. What if we looked at the measure of, what's the next one? MXN. We're looking at this one right here, okay? We would start measuring here at 0, and we'd count up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So the measure of angle MX, sorry, that's an M, XN equals 70 degrees. And finally, the measure of, do we have another one? JXK. Sure we do. JXK. Where's JXK? JXK. Right here. All right? And then we're going to measure this angle to there. And we'd find that that is 45 degrees. You also can draw an angle. You draw an angle by, your first step is to draw a ray. So we draw a ray, we put an endpoint X, and we draw our ray. Then we place the center point of the protractor on X, right here. Then you align the ray with the bottom of your protractor, And you start the scale, and if we're making a measure of 85 degrees, right? We'll come up our scale till we get to 85, and we'll put a dot right there. We'll make a dot. And then you'll take a straight edge, ruler or whatever you have, and connect the two dots and make a ray. And then you have made an angle that's 85 degrees. You can classify angles by their degree measure. So what does that mean? And I think this again is review for you. We're going to go through it pretty straightforwardly. An acute angle is anything that is less than 90 degrees. The measure of angle A is less than 90 degrees. It's a cute little angle. A right angle equals 90 degrees, and this symbol with a little square in the corner tells you it's a right angle. An obtuse angle is between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So it's greater than 90 degrees, but it's less than 180 degrees. And a 180-degree angle is called a straight angle. Looks a lot like a line, doesn't it? However, it has a vertex. All right, here's your practice for 9-3. If you need to, go back and play through this video again in case you didn't quite understand something. And good luck with the practice problems.